So I put the Luftkappe in these forks a couple of days ago, or last week sometime, a few days ago now, and went for a ride the other night. They didn't quite feel right. It felt like I've got no token in there, and it felt too progressive. So what I did was open them up again. Now the directions of how to install it and whatever, at the end, Steve at Vorsprung says to really liberally apply the grease on the piston head of or the seal head, the actual Luftkappe dome, to keep heaps of grease moving up and down the inside of your legs, to keep it well greased and you know, keep it feeling butter. But that also adds essentially another token. If you put as much as he's describing in there, it essentially adds another token, which is fine if you're already running, say on your standard setup pre-Luftkappe, you're running 3 tokens or maybe even 2 tokens, but 3 or more tokens generally. You got plenty of room for that, and you can just drop a couple of tokens out when you put it in. So the dome of the Luftkappe takes up about a token, maybe a token and a bit. That grease is almost another token, so you got 2 tokens there, plus the change of the ratio between the positive and negative air spring volumes, which you got to account for as well. But anyway, it just felt a little too progressive, so I went 10% more PSI. So I was running 87 before, went to 96. Now I've pulled them apart again, cleaned that grease up, and just put enough grease there to keep it lubed and whatnot without being excessive. So I took a fair bit of grease back out, which I kind of knew I was going to end up doing, but I wanted to do it by the book to see how it felt, and yeah, I can differentiate and I can compare them. So it's good as it is now. It just means I'm going to end up servicing that spring a little more often. But anyway, I'm here at Horsnell's Gully, so that's the top section just up there with the fast descent and a few jumps, and then you're out onto this fire road and into the next bit of single track there. So I'm at 100 PSI now. They definitely feel more stiff, more supportive, which is great. I'm at 4 clicks of low speed compression on the fork. So I was at 3. I dabble between 3 and 4 here, generally 4. On my old fork, the Lyric, when I put the Luftkappe in, I ended up dropping a fair bit of low speed compression because it felt like it no longer needed that much low speed compression for support. So I kind of went a similar premise with this, but coming through that real rough, it's like a rough left-hander. It's the first left-hander of the track, real fast one. It was good, but it was a little bit too up and down. So the fork was going up and down a little bit too much, diving. You know, not diving, but just moving through its travel too much for me. So, and coming into the bottom of that turn, there's a couple of kind of bomb holes, and if you hit them with the wrong timing, or just generally if you hit them fast and not set upright, it's a real hit. So it had actually gone real deep into the travel and taken a hit, just a nasty hit. So what I've done is I've gone 1 more click of low speed, so I'm at 4, and I actually took a click of high speed off because it felt a little bit taxing on the hands. Not really taxing on the hands, but it just felt a little bit stout going into that deeper part of the travel. So I buttoned off the high speed compression 1 and I added the low speed compression, and it felt more stable, which is what you'd expect out of that low speed compression. So it'll generally give you a more stable bite. I also went 1 click slower on the rear shock, but that's separate to what we're going on with here with the fork. So the rear shock feels good anywhere between where it is now with that rebound, which is 1 off of full fast, or full fast. It feels really good as well. So that rear shock I've got pretty good. I bottomed it out just then, but not a big deal. It was a pretty big hit, or a pretty big landing. I flat landed the first big double. So it's carrying more speed. It feels wicked. It feels controlled and stable. The fork feels really good. It doesn't feel, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's more efficient. It's stiffer. I'm running it at, like I said, 100 PSI versus the 87 that it was. So it is stiffer. It's riding a little higher in its travel, which may afford me a little bit lower to go a little bit lower on the bars eventually, which I'm going to do. I know everybody loves my stack height there, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get a higher rise bar, because they're only a 20mm rise bar. I'm going to get a 40mm rise bar and dump that stem down a bit cut the steerer down, and that'll give me a shorter stack, a shorter steerer, so maybe less flex in that steerer, and still have that height and the ability to tune for height at the front there. But anyway, fork, 2 clicks from full slow on the Grip2. It's the Grip2 obviously. 2 clicks from full slow on the high speed rebound, and I've actually been able to slow it down on the low speed rebound a little bit. I was always running the low speed rebound at full fast, and the high speed 2 to 3 clicks out from full slow, depending on the weather, depending on whether if it's hotter, I run it a bit slower. If it's cooler, I run it a bit more open. But the low speed rebound always stays full fast, because to me that low speed rebound tune on this Grip2 isn't open enough. You can't open it up enough, in my opinion. I want it faster, and now I've got it to where it's faster, mainly because the spring is stiffer, and it feels really good. It feels real charging. It's carrying more speed than it ever has, so that's great. It's just a matter of getting it composed and making sure it's still got grip in the looser stuff when we get further down. So this stuff's all good, but it's not really a true test of how a bike performs. It's only a true test of how a bike performs at high speed, rough stuff. So we got it sussed there. I've done probably 5 or 6 up and downs. I'm going to head down a bit further and see what I can make of the looser, steeper stuff. So I just did a full run coming down. Loose stuff was okay. The back end was a little bit too much compression, so I buttoned off the compression at the back, and the front, it's just a little bit too stiff, so I don't have enough sag for that negative travel, I guess you'd call it, to keep the front end tracking over things. It was just a little bit too stout. It was, how do you describe it? Coming into things, it was going a little bit more bang bang. Still controlled, wicked control, had really good control, and the grip felt great, but just a little bit too stiff. So I might back it back off to the 96 and see how that goes. I'm probably going to call it for now. I'm getting a bit tired, so these antibiotics I think they're slowing me down a bit. So I don't want to run myself down, but I made progress, so it feels good. It feels pretty good. I've got a bit of work to do still, and hopefully during the week I'll feel a bit better and get out and make some more progress with it. So yeah, so far so good for now for the Luftkappe. I thought maybe it was too much. I was like I said before, I was only running 1 token standard and in the standard setup, so going a Luftkappe is almost not valid for my setup. But I wanted the stiffer fork and potentially more support. So the support was really good on the old fork. Actually, it's not the support I'm looking for, it's the speed of rebound. I'm looking to make the front end a little faster. That runner was a little bit too, I think it was too fast because the spring was too stiff. I was too high in the travel for most of that stuff. So yeah, looking for more. If you're looking at the Luftkappe and watching this video thinking, is it for me or is it not for me? If you're running 3 or 4 tokens in your current setup, then it's definitely for you. If you're only running 1 token or no tokens, don't bother, because it's not going to work for you. It's going to be too, if you've worked through the process of finding what works for you and you're at 2 tokens and then 1 token and then none and then back to 1, you might find this is, and 2 was too much for you or 1 was too much for you, you'll probably find this is too much. So yeah, so far so good. I'll keep you updated and we'll kick on.